It's the dry season, and Tangi Farm in Purongo sub-county in Nwaya district seems deserted. The 20,000-acre farm that the late Lieutenant Kano Erinayo Oryema, the former Minister of Lands, Housing and Physical Planning, left to his children is embroiled in a bitter land wrangle. The family accuses General Charles Otema Awani, the UPDF's reserve force commander, and his brother of grabbing over 3,500 acres of the farm. The family can only access 650 acres, and gaining entrance to that portion is no mean feat even for them. One must explain to the policeman guarding the gate exactly what their mission is. At the time of his death on February 16th, 1977, Lieutenant Kano Oriyama was the longest-serving minister in Amin's government. He joined Uganda Police Force in 1939 and rose through the ranks to become Uganda's first African Inspector General of Police in 1964. In 1971, Amin appointed him Minister of Minerals and Water Resources. Oryama's home is in ruins. On February 17th, 1977, while 5 of his relatives were burying Oryama, the soldiers who had brought his body were busy looting everything in the house and on the farm. The villagers stole whatever was left, including cattle. In the 1980s, they returned, taking the iron sheets and bricks off the house. A few meters away from the house, Oryama and his wife are resting in peace, a far cry from the turmoil that characterized the last month of his life. Oryama's niece, Jennifer Olwen, was 17 when he was killed. 2 weeks before his death, she noticed something was wrong after Oryama returned from attending a burial in Arua district.
We prepared malakwang, but he didn't eat that meal because he didn't seem so fine at all. So he later on went back to Kampala, but he came back.
Olweni says that a week later, at 10 p.m., soldiers appeared at the gate, saying President Idi Amin had sent them to collect Oryama for an urgent assignment in Entebbe. The first 2 years of President Amin's rule were characterized by a purge of Acholi and Langi officers in the Uganda Army. Lieutenant Kano Oriyama survived because, according to William Oryema, who was 32 when his father was murdered, he was Amin's friend.
He was trying to be too friendly to my father. He used to come and visit us.
A year before, in 1976, William had married Margaret Chifefe, a sister of Dr. Kizza Besigye. The reception, which was held at the Apollo Hotel, now Sheraton Hotel in Kampala, was graced by President Amin. Pamela Oryema, who now lives in Canada, describes her father as a gentle giant.
He understood the value of soft touch, and he had a gentle tone of speaking.
She remembers the day when she last saw her father. At the time, she was working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
He was dressed in a grayish Kawunda suit. He walked out of the house and entered his official vehicle.
When Oryema, Archbishop Janani Luwum, and Charles Oboth-Ofumbi were arrested at the Nile Mansions in Kampala, William was at work at Lake Victoria Bottling Company on 2nd Street in industrial area where he was the chief engineer.
Before soldiers started surrounding the plant, it was Zairean embassy and French embassy. They were one who helped me sneak out.
While William and his brother were being smuggled to Nairobi, their father was being tortured at the State Research Bureau. Pamela says more soldiers arrived at their home on Lumumba Avenue in Nakasero and ransacked the house.
They took papers, documents that they could find, and took my dad's gun and pistol and ransacked the house.
Olweni heard about her uncle's death on Radio Uganda on 17th February at about midday. At 7 a.m. the next day, the workers on Tangi Farm spotted an army lorry filled with soldiers about 3 miles away, driving up the hill to the house. The wife of one of Oryema's sons ran into the house, grabbed a box of bullets and threw it in the pit latrine. They tried to hide the 2 guns that were in the house, a .375 H&H Magnum rifle and a shotgun.
Being on the farm like ours, one has to have guns, firearms, to protect against people and animals.
Olweni recalls that when the soldiers jumped off the truck, she saw 2 coffins. She and her sister-in-law were the only ones allowed to look at Oryema's body.
When they opened the coffin, bandage in the face, they all had their bandage only. They said if someone cried, they are going to shoot him straight away.
After the hasty burial, the soldiers looted the furniture. Then they demanded for the keys to Oryema's safe. Olweni says there was over 20 million shillings in the safe, which was an equivalent to about $250,000 at the time.
So when they tried kinda to resist, one of them pulled them, took them to the compound, picked a gun and cocked it. They had to give them the keys.
The soldiers then left with the second coffin, which Olweni assumed to be that of Archbishop Luwum. The family was later thrown out of their Nakasero home. On September 18, 2014, Oryema's body was exhumed and reburied a few meters away from his former grave. William says that before his death, Oryema advised his children never to serve in the government, and they have followed his advice.
Never to join the armed forces, the police, prisons and army.
Besides this first farm, Oryema also owned a property near Custom Corner in Gulu City. After a protracted court battle, the family has managed to regain the property. Today, only 2 of his 12 children are living in Uganda, while one of them, the internationally renowned musician Geoffrey Oryema, died last year. The rest settled abroad in the UK and Canada. GILLIAN NANTUME, NTV Tonight.